Hello. I can now receive guest requests. That sounds like, like people are, like I have a Airbnb. Yep, we're here. It's very exciting. Yes, invite the Lord. I like that. Did you guys have a good, so funny, Alicia thought today was Wednesday. It's Friday. Not here, but it's Friday somewhere. DFW boss lady. Oh, I like that. That's impressive. All right, so we're excited. You guys tell your friends. They can jump on and ask all their questions. Man, today was a long day. I sat in a mediation. It was not successful. We did not. Oh, it's Clarissa. Oh, Clarissa has a top secret late. That's fantastic. Hi, Theo. Yeah, I had sat in a very unsuccessful mediation today. It was unfortunate. So, mediation is sealed. So we just move forward with the shenanigans. So it's amazing. Anyway, all right. So I saw you advocating for a boy here in Texas. I do advocate for some boys here in Texas. Boys, girls, cats, dogs, giraffes, leprechauns. Have I done any leprechauns? I don't think so. It's leprechaun. Hi, special education teacher in Houston. I hope you're not in Houston ISD. Did you guys see that? The Texas Education Agency took over Houston ISD because they can't get it together. Yeah. Bloop. And we took it back. Thank y'all. Oh, thank you. That was so nice. All right. Christina, you have a question? You have any updates? Anything from our friends in Allen ISD?
I do. I have both. So we'll go with the update first, and then we'll hit a question that was sent to me privately.
Okay.
So I had multiple people share some exciting news out of Allen ISD. One of your two admirers with the plastic name tags that came to join you at the press conference.
The plastic name tags, the guys that were threatening me if I stood over there.
Yes. One of them has decided to find other pursuits and is no longer.
It's so sad. Yeah, because he couldn't wrestle me to the ground in the parking lot. Although I do love a good wrestling, but that wasn't an option. So yeah. So after the deputy superintendent and the chief of communications, Huey and Dewey, joined with their bad behavior, I then sent out an email back to include them and the superintendent. I knew that she wanted to hear about their fantastic customer service that we received in the parking lot.
Yes. Yeah. I think he's now gone to provide that same level of customer service to another private entity.
Someone that obeys him. I was not obeying them.
Mm-hmm. You're not an obeyer.
Mm-mm. I've never been about. Somebody just asked me about if we have advocates in North Carolina. I just picked up a client in North Carolina. North Dakota. I just picked up a client in South Dakota. I feel like they're connected somehow.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So we've got a couple of anonymous questions for you. You ready?
Yep.
All right. Would you address ESY and the misconceptions, and what is it actually for? I've been told so many different things. I thought I was writing good IEPs to advocate for my kids until I started watching you, and I take every opportunity now to learn more, so I can be better for my students. You are a blessing.
Sure. Well, thank you for those kind words. I appreciate that. So ESY, Extended School Year Services, are to work on goals that have already been in place. We don't write new goals for ESY. They're to work on previously identified goals. So there's two prongs to ESY. One is documented regression on IEP goals with a profound amount of time to recoup that skill. I would argue that a profound amount of time would be a grading period, so 6 or 9 weeks. The second prong that schools rarely talk about for some reason is concern for loss of critical skills, right? So we know that 9-10 week break is really paramount and impacts kiddos' abilities to sustain the acquisition of those skills. And so often I I'm asking for, that second prong. But ESY is to work on identified goals that have already been in place. We don't do new goals. It's not for progress. It's for maintaining.
Okay. And then we received another anonymous question regarding calm down rooms. My child's been pulled out of class 33 times in the fall semester, and has spent anywhere from 30 minutes to 5 hours on each occasion in the room, being denied food, water, and bathroom.
So that is a ridiculous safety issue. I would call Child Protective Services first, and then I would file with the U.S. Department of Education Office of Civil Rights. It's a violation of, I can't even tell you how many of their rights.
Yes. Okay. Next one is the age 2 years old too early to know if your child has a learning disability? Oh, this is from somebody in my neck of the woods. Allen ISD is trying to tell me that my 2-year-old clearly has a disability because she doesn't have a proper pencil grip.
What do 2-year-olds have that are?
Two?
I have a 2-year-old grandchild. I don't know that he has a proper. He's got a proper no, Gigi. We identify kids and test them for suspicion of disabilities and test them for special education related services. You can do that around 2.5. I don't know many 2-year-olds have a proper pencil grip, nor did I know that we were measuring 2-year-old pencil grips. But certainly, we want to identify if they have a need for behavioral needs, communicative needs, academic needs, functional needs, all of the things.
Perfect. And then, okay, for more context, this little one was being seen initially for speech services. So that was their entree into the SPED world.
Speech services with a pencil.
Speech services with the pencil. Mm-hmm. Not without. Mm-mm. All right. And then I have one more. All of those things. Okay, so I have one more anonymous that came in. And this one says, my screen just went crazy. Okay.
Hey, Nebraska.
My child is 4.5, and I would like for them to go into full day pre-K. But my district is only providing half day for students with disabilities. Is that okay?
Oh my goodness. Is that okay? That's a really good question. So okay and legal, two different things. So there's no requirement that school districts provide a full day of special education for 3 to 5 year olds. However, I do find it pretty interesting that most school districts provide a full day for kiddos that are second language learners or children of employees. So you certainly avail yourself of whatever is available. You can't make them give you a full day, but of course, ECSE, Early Childhood Special Education, is at least a half a day.
Okay, awesome. All right, our favorite, I'm thinking of upgrading my child's 504 to an IEP. Can you explain the difference for me?
I like that. I'm upgrading. So you're going from a Honda to, Cadillac. I'd like to upgrade. Yeah, so there's no there's no educational product from a 504. It's a civil rights protection plan, simply saying that your child cannot be discriminated against and denied accommodations based on their civil rights. We're not measuring anything. We're not calculating anything. We're not mitigating anything. So please upgrade as soon as possible. And so Excellent. It's not, so Bonnie just put specialeducationacademy.cop. That's really good. I wonder if that's available.
The SPED cops, the special education cops.
She was asking how to submit an anonymous question. So I guess she's not comfortable in the chat. So
yes. And I think you guys are asking about the book. This is the book. The 34 CFR, Code of Federal Regulations, Title 34, And we're looking for 300s, wherever it is, the 300s to 399. This is special education. This is where we get all the good stuff. This is where we train on the good stuff. And it's attached to my link in the bio if you want to get it. This is your special ed Bible.
Yes. Oh, Lordy. Okay, Karen, you ready?
Yeah.
Are you sitting down?
Yes.
Okay. We tried explaining or my student's teacher explained to me that it takes too long to learn AAC language. She even cited the quote about the 84 years, and that's why we should not try it. What can I tell her?
I certainly appreciate her discriminatory bias, but that's what it is. When you communicate with an AAC, you'll communicate at about 10% of the rate of a person that speaks oral language. So the average person speaks 150 words a minute. I speak about 700 words a minute. And then the AAC is going to be somewhere between 12 and 15 words per minute. So of course it's going to take longer, but for that child to have the ability to connect with their world, it's paramount that we provide them that.
Exactly. All right. Wonderfully Written Co. asked, should data collection be written into the IEP or do they have to do it anyways?
So I always write it where it says implementer. So it says two things, right? Implementer, who's going to work on the IEP goal, and method of evaluation. I make sure that it says weekly data sheets, so that when I come and ask for the data, nobody's feelings are hurt. I mean, as teachers, isn't that what we do? We collect data. And we collect that data why? Not because we're being mean. We collect data so that when teachers are teaching, we see if the student has learned what we've taught. Same thing in IEP goals.
Exactly. All right. Do you have any advocates in Ohio? Hello, Ohio.
Yes, I am an Ohio advocate. But yeah, we have advocates in Ohio. Absolutely.
And then, can you have an IEP without services?
Yes, it's called fraudulent. Yeah. I see it all the time. I have an IEP that I was in last week, and they recommended 3 dyslexia goals, even though the student has an SLD in basic reading. And then they tried to tell me how it was. So I told them how it was. I like me telling them how it was, and it is, and it's going to be. Yes, we have advocates. So we have 3 advocates right now that are part of the team in Missouri. And believe me, Missouri definitely needs your help.
Too true. Somebody else asking about advocates in East Texas. Oh, yes.
Yes.
All of the Texas.
All the Texas, the East, the North, the South, the West, what other locations there are.
All right. Someone asked, do we have the same rights if he has an IEP but not a formal diagnosis yet?
So an IEP means that you have an identified disability, and based on testing, he's in need of special education and related services. So formal diagnosis is not necessarily a requirement to have an IEP.
All right. And then I'm going to ask one more and then hand it over to the amazing Bonnie. How do I address not being notified or contacted when my child was falling behind a subject? He has an IEP.
So you are contacted. You're contacted every quarter or every grading period when the IEP progress reports come home. So for me, for my clients, I'm going to ask for those IEP progress reports to go home monthly instead of every 9 weeks. That way, if something's not going right, kind of how you're indicating, I have a quicker way of making sure that we're mitigating that.
Okay, and someone is asking about your virtual training.
Oh, I might have mentioned that today. Yeah, so we're having a virtual training, a 2-day virtual training, which means you will be wherever you are, and I will be right here, and I will train you for 2 days. It will be Saturday. When will it be? Saturday, February 11th and February 12th. It'll be fantastico.
Okay, and then can I push for a private program if the public school isn't providing the one-to-one services as stated on the IEP?
So if the school is not able to implement the conformity of the IEP, you can certainly ask for consideration for out-of-district placement, of course.
Okay, and does an FBA have to be completed before an IEP is put in place?
Nope. Nope.
All right. And then Danielle is asking 0% progress on IEP goals and still being denied a one-to-one. How is this possible at this point?
Right. So, zero progress on IEP goal and a one-to-one are two different things. I'm not saying they're not both important. And so you have to provide the data that supports your recommendation. So if you had a one-on-one, then what would occur? What does that one-on-one do? When does that one-on-one support the student? Is it across all content area, those core subjects, or from bell to bell?
Okay, and then as an intervention specialist, how can I become more educated?
And we always recommend that everybody joins the academy. We meet every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. It's fantastico. And we go over this little bad boy, the federal law, because everything that we advocate on our students and our advocates that we train are based on the federal law. No school district, state, city, county can reduce the benefit of IDEA. And so we train on that.
Okay, and Lila's mom is asking, is it acceptable for ESY to be approved to make up missed minutes due to teacher being absent?
There are some people that use ESY to fulfill the obligation for the school's compensatory time. So if that's what you agreed to, yes. And people keep asking, this book is going to be in my link above. This is the federal code. Just came out in September. It's fantastic. Do we not like the black cover and the goldish letters? It's fantastic. So this is your special ed Bible. Not what somebody said, not what somebody at the water cooler told you, but the federal law. Because it's like federal. It goes everywhere.
Okay, and then school speech therapist only does small groups, no one-to-one. Is this normal, and how should this be determined?
So one-to-one is determined on the acuity of a student. So if you have a student that's working on something with specificity, like for instance, if my student has a VOCD, a voice output communication device, unless somebody else is, in the class with a VOCD and the same VOCD, I would request that part of their speech minutes would be one-on-one.
Okay, and Ash is asking, in Texas, do you have to have some sort of certification to be an advocate?
No, nowhere on the planet. It would be helpful if you like children and you like high volatile meetings with people.
And Carly in Dallas says that Texas loves Karen.
Oh, good. Thank you. Thank goodness.
And you're getting lots of love in the comments. A lot of people saying thank you for your work.
Oh, thank y'all.
And what
say that landline raise, she changed her little picture, so I was like, where's she at? And then I was like, oh, there she is. Her picture is different.
Yeah, we're gonna need to have notification if you're gonna change your picture.
And lots of people are just asking, how can they speak to someone like you that is close to them? How can they reach out to you?
So if you want to reach out to us or any of our advocates, just email us at admin@specialeducationacademy.com. All of our advocates advocate nationwide. Literally in the last few days, I've been in Alaska, New Hampshire, New York, a lot of time in Missouri, Wisconsin. So the advocating is the same. We just advocate with the Ethernet cord. The meetings are all virtual. I don't need to be in your zip code to be effective.
Okay, and one more from me, and then I'll send it over to Shannon. This is actually from Landline. She says, how do you feel about school psychologists giving medical diagnoses?
Well, the only person to give medical diagnoses is a doctor in the medical profession. So even if you are a doctor that works at a school, that would be against protocol to provide medical diagnoses unless that child is under your personal care with consent from the parent.
Okay, someone is asking, do you address students ages 18 to 22 on IEPs?
Absolutely. I've got lots of kiddos that are in the 18 to 22 program.
All right. What goals would you recommend for a 5th grader with a 1st grade reading level?
So it depends on the reason he has a 1st grade reading level. It could be because of autism. It could be because of something neurological. It could be because of one of the 4 SLDs in reading. And then based on those unique circumstances, the comorbidity of his disabilities, then I would write goals around that. Is it fluency? Is it basic reading, that ability to take apart a word and put it back together with automaticity? Is it cadence? Is it prosody? Is it comprehension? It depends on what the disability in reading is.
Okay. Our public school will pay for private school students to receive speech, but not OT. Is this legal?
Yes. If the school agrees to pay for something private, that's between them and the parents of the child with a disability. There's no onus that says they have to do everything for everyone.
Okay. Ryan is asking, when is the one-to-one appropriate for gen ed versus a more restrictive placement in self-contained classroom?
Yeah, so I'm not a fan of one-on-one. I'm just not. I'm a fan of giving a child exactly what they need, only when they need it. I don't know that I've ever seen a child that literally needs a one-to-one from bell to bell. They might need it for 40 minutes of that 60-minute block, but it's very rare that I would find a child that needs a one-on-one the whole time. Additionally, a one-on-one often skews the data because I don't really know what is the student producing and what are you actually helping the student with. Additionally, we get very attached to the one-on-one, and it's not real life, right? So we're always getting them ready for gainful employment, independent living, and further education, where they are not going to have a one-on-one unless it's for medical needs such as nursing.
Okay. Chrissy is asking, with an IEP, can the school throw up hands and say they've done all they can do and they have no more resources?
No. There'll be no hand throwing unless they're on the pep squad or they're doing jazz hands. So no. If you can't do anything else, then that's fantastic. Let's have a meeting to talk about out-of-district placement.
Can the school ask if you're considering medication at an IEP meeting?
Sure, and I would ask them, are you considering medication? No. It's none of their business. Silly goose.
This is a good question. What accommodations should I be asking for to help achieve self-advocacy goals in an IEP?
So it depends on what the self-advocacy goals are. So a self-advocacy goal is worked on after instruction is delivered. Most self-advocacy goals come with no instruction. Like they're just supposed to know it. It's sort of like, I want you to know math. Am I going to teach it to you? No. But you need to advocate for yourself. Great. So the skill comes after the SDI, the specially designed instruction. So I'm going to ask the school, what SDI, what special education are you going to provide Matthew so that at some point in the future, he can advocate for himself? Are you involved in the case with Allen ISD? It is my case, yes, and we're giving it to him. Yeah.
Let's see. How do you feel about school psychologists giving medical diagnosis?
Same way I still feel. They're not doctors. Yeah. Sometimes there are people in school districts that should have been professors instead of teachers, should have been doctors instead of LSSPs, and should have, I don't know, worked at a bank instead of being diagnosticians.
Okay, I'm going to ask one more question and then I'll pass it on to Christina. Parents have denied testing, but kiddo is struggling. Next best steps, help.
When parents deny testing, it's tough, right? Because what? Special education is consensual. It's like getting married. In all my years of doing this, I've only seen one legal time where that was overridden, that the parents' rights were overwritten, right? I can't even say it. Well, the parents were required to have their child tested. That was in Spring Branch ISD probably 15 years ago, and it was a young man, I think he was like in junior high or high school, and he was literally beating people up, and so a hearing officer granted special education testing for his own protection and the protection of others.
All right. What kinds of questions will they ask a child in an MDR meeting, 5th grader with ADHD?
What? Why would a child be in an MDR meeting? A manifestation determination meeting is when the adults meet and decide if the child's action is a result, causation of their disability, and if it's a reason because the student their IEP wasn't implemented. So let me just say it again. I don't recommend children go into meetings with adults. I really don't recommend children with disabilities go into meetings with adults. If there's information you need from the child, then get that. This whole shenanigan that they need to be a part of their meetings, I don't know, I'm part of 500 meetings a year, and I'm mortified at the way the adults act. And so the last thing that we need to do is show that to children and for children with disabilities to listen to adults talk about their deficits in a way that sometimes is not collaborative or helpful.
Yep, exactly. Are diagnoses through the school district sufficient, or does an outside diagnosis hold more weight?
There are no diagnoses through a school district. Doesn't exist because they're not doctors. And no, anybody that told you your child has to attend a meeting, say it with me. They are liars. Say it together. Liars. They are lying. Your child is a minor. It is your decision about what meetings they attend.
All right, this is a good one.
I like this. Mommy needs a break. I like that.
Mommy needs a break. Oh, yeah. Madam Alicia. Hand up and everything.
Yes, I got a question, an anonymous email. So they're in the live right now. They said that their child uses an AAC and that they're moving to a new district, and that district says that they all use a different AAC and that their IT and everybody's all set up on this different device, so they're trying to get them to switch to that. Is it legal?
That's like saying we're going to move to a different district and here we speak Mandarin instead of English. You're okay with that, right? No, I'm not okay with it. The AAC is the student's voice. The school adapts. The child doesn't adapt.
Thank you. That's the only one I've gotten so far. So, Christina, you can take back over.
All right. Amen to that on the AAC. My school district has put, quote, as needed for my child's accommodations. Shouldn't we put minutes?
As needed is not a thing. As needed is not a civil right.
Oh, I don't know. Okay, so district requires my student to go to a different school. If you can chime back in and give us more detail about that one. I'm curious now. Okay, a lot of good people are going to be going after that book. Read that pretty black book.
So here's the book. It's in the link above. If you're interested in the virtual training that we're having February 11th and 12th, just email us that you want to know when it's up. It'll be up in a day or two at admin@specialeducationacademy.com. And I'm going to just jump in again. I disagree with you. A child does not have to come to their transition meeting. As somebody that teaches transition nationally, it is embarrassing at your transition supplements. When your transition goals are that he'll have 4 classes of math, science, and social studies in high school, and he'll graduate and go on to something, it's the transition supplements I see are truly embarrassing. Your transition is supposed to have a set of coordinated activities to enable a child for post-secondary success, and I never, and I mean never, see that. So no, you don't need to bring a child into the transition part of the meeting. You can get that information from the student with a disability ahead of time.
Hey, Karen, we had somebody ask if you can repeat the answer to the last question. I guess they accidentally logged off. So it's about the school saying that everybody uses this one AAC device. The child's moving in, so they're trying to get them to transition.
No, we don't take away the thing that made the child successful to adapt to the district. The district adapts to the child's needs. Whether or not you've ever had this AAC device, none of our business. But he's learned to communicate in this modality. The last thing that we're doing is changing it to accommodate a school district.
Okay, I'm about to throw hands. I'm only assuming that this has to do with AACs. Would you be okay with a statement in an IEP saying that a teacher or an OT can take away equipment if? Where's the rest of that? I'm about to get very, 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 very unhinged.
Yeah, well, we don't take away equipment. The AT, which we're doing the last series tonight in the academy, it's the Assistive Technology Act of 1998. It's a requirement for students to be successful. So I'm so tired of us accommodating schools instead of training students to mitigate the disability.
Exactly. So, question. So, the teachers should be getting training on that new AAC, correct?
The teachers, the staff, the para, the parents, the family. It's part of the Assistive Technology Act. It's a requirement. It's one of the 8 pillars of IDEA. The act includes devices, minutes, and services for everybody involved. You should put that in your IEP document. If you want the school's head to spin around, why don't you just tell them that you want 80 minutes? That'll be enjoyable.
All right, I have a anonymous one that was forwarded to me.
Okay.
My child is autistic and starting kindergarten next year. I asked for an evaluation through school. They did, but said autism is only medical. He gets very dysregulated, is slapping, and hard to redirect when he feels he's losing control. He'll throw things and has broken other people's belongings. Also has ADHD, very vocal, has multiple feeding sensitivities, and other sensory needs. School granted the IEE, but denied functional behavior and assistive technology. Where do I go from here?
Well, first of all, autism is the first federal eligibility in alphabetical order. So that's past ridiculous. So you might want to print out the eligibilities and then just bonk them over the head with that, which of course you would find in your Office of Federal Registry, Code of Federal Requirements 300 to 300.99. We make it up as we go, and we sound so dumb making it up as we go. If your child has autism and there's an educational need, that is one of his eligibilities.
I'm going to ask one more and then hand it over to Miss Bonnie. Someone asked, can you please talk about PLAAFPs?
Sure. So somebody asked how many people are you allowed to bonk? All of them. So the PLAAFP, PLAAFP, is the present levels of academic achievement and functional performance. It is the section of the IEP that should be puffy, pristine, and prescriptive. It drives everything good and right in the entire IEP document. It needs to be multiple pages long, and it needs to be so well done that I can pick up the PLAAFP and see where the student is in the instructional day, whether that's at recess, whether that's at lunch, whether that's in the hall, at any class that he has, because everything in the present levels will drive everything good and right. It will identify the acuity of his disabilities or comorbidities and talk about his unique circumstances and what we need to do to mitigate them.
So going back, this is just a statement that I think you can refute. A commenter said, our district requires children, middle and high school, to attend ARD meetings. They say it's the law.
Well, they are liars. They are liars. And I think what's hard for a lot of you teachers to realize is the bulk, and I'll go with bulk, of what you've been told in special ed is a bold-faced lie. Here's the great thing about the federal law. It hasn't changed really that much in 47 years. And I don't know why it's so hard for you to believe somebody who has no special education law training is telling you something that's not true.
Hey, I'm gonna jump in here. Can you let I'm just gonna let everybody know they can't see me. Hey. It's Alicia, Karen's assistant. We're gonna ask everybody to wait. We're working on getting the link live for the virtual class. As soon as it's live, I promise we'll post it on Karen's TikToks, Facebook, everywhere, so you can register.
Did you say Spacebook?
Facebook. The book of face.
Do I have a Spacebook? Can I get a Spacebook?
We'll get it posted everywhere. But I promise you, as soon as it's live, we'll post it on TikTok.
But if you're interested in the class, shoot us an email, and then we'll email you back as soon as it's up.
Okay, and then my son's 504 has always said as needed. How do I get this changed?
So I just want to say Krista English is genius. At 14 or 16, whenever you have transition in your state, it's different. You are required to invite the student. That's it. Thank you, Krista English. As needed is not a thing. Say it with me. Not a thing. Up to, not a thing. Teacher discrimination. Worse, which is actually what it is. Teacher discretion. Teacher discretion. An accommodation has to have clarity around it so that we all do the exact same thing. Wait, I'm going to scroll back down. It does help to have the child. Wait, I'm just going to jump in for JPATOO. JP, love you. It does help to have the child there in order for their input in what classes they want. And I don't disagree with you that we want the child's input, but we can certainly do that in a calm, quiet setting long before the IEP meeting. We don't have to pull him out of class and walk him down to an IEP meeting with a bunch of people that may or may not be in a good mood that day. Okay, so I'm sorry. I know I'm not allowed to touch it.
We're gonna talk about it later. You're gonna go to the corner.
Oh no, I'm gonna have to talk about it later. I don't want to talk about it later. I want to be good.
I did see this question a few times, so I'm just gonna jump in. Sorry, Bonnie. As soon as I'm done, you can have it back. Now I lost it. No, I didn't. I got it. Everybody calm down. It's all good.
Who was not calm? Raise your hand if you're not calm.
Kimberly, I see you, girl. I just want to know. I've been seeing you ask this question. So she requested more accommodations, and now the teachers are retaliating. What should she do?
What does that mean, they're retaliating?
I figured you were going to ask for some clarification, so I wanted to do it now so she had time to respond.
I like that. Cheer up, sleepy Jean. You guys aren't old enough to know that. Oh, what can it mean to a daydream believer? Raise your hand if you remember the Monkees. None of you do.
And homecoming queen.
Yeah. All right. And so we just asked forgiveness for that. That was not part of our transition plan.
Everybody's asking now, what does as needed mean for accommodations or at teacher's discretion?
It means you can discriminate against a child. Because if I'm a hard rear end teacher and I think Billy can do it and he's lazy, then I give him 10%. And the nice teacher who has some snap gives him 50%, then that's discriminating. That's because you're using your discretion. Your discretion is junk. We go based on facts and identified need.
Okay, here's a question from Jennifer. Are schools required to offer services for elected classes like foreign or dual classes in high school?
Nope.
I guess like dual credit classes,
no.
Maybe?
In fact, there's no requirement for support staff and foreign language. You can certainly have accommodations, but additionally, advanced classes, there's no onus for the school to provide support. The assumption is that if your child can be in that advanced class, they don't need support from another human.
And here's someone in Wyoming. We live in Wyoming, and their excuse for my son with TBI for 8 years is that we can't find a specialist.
Oh, I am tearing them up right now in Wyoming in Carbon County. I hope you're not in Carbon County. So if you have a need, either the school can fulfill that need based on the student's educational eligibilities and unique circumstances, or they pay for out-of-district placement.
When the parent asks in writing for testing, how long should they wait for some type of response?
So the school has 15 days to respond to your request. 15 days. Say it together. 15. So when I send in my request, I say, this is my formal request for Billy Smith to have special education testing and related services, areas of suspected disability or learning, behavior, functional, communicative, and academic. We look forward to coming in and signing notice of consent in 15 days. And then you go like this, bloop. If you do the bloop, it makes it go through quicker.
Okay, Brittany's got a question. Is it legal for only half the goals to be done the first semester and the rest be done the second semester?
Shannon, what did I tell you about making up questions? I know that you're making that up.
I knew you'd love that.
I know you're trying to kid me. Yeah, doing part of his IEP. I feel like that's a fantastic idea. I said, no one.
Right.
What? If I could just show you what I get in the mail every day, you would think that I was joking. I'm not.
If you ask for an emergency IEP meeting, how many days do they have to schedule it?
It's not a thing. Emergency IEP meetings are not a thing. You can ask for an IEP meeting as soon as possible, but emergency IEP meetings are not a thing. It sounds good, right? Like my emergency first wedding, but it wasn't an emergency. It was a long 13 years of rehab.
Mama Bear, back on the request for evaluation in writing, was that 15 school days or 15 calendar days?
Paper. So it's either paper days or school days, right?
Okay.
And it doesn't matter if you sent that on New Year's Eve. Start counting.
Landline commented, can I pay my bills the first semester and then the rest the second?
I feel like you just, you either pay the car payment or the house payment, but no need to just rush in and do both.
Hey, someone said that their district said they had 60 days to complete it and they're going to drag their feet.
Wow. That means that your toenails, your polish is going to come off. So the federal law says that you have up to 60 school days to complete an initial evaluation. Most states, though, have a 45-day for initial. If you pull your state's procedural safeguards, it will have those timelines in there. And feet dragging, like who invented that?
I know, right? So professional.
Sounds very Bro Bridge. Mm-hmm.
That is something Bro Bridge would do. Mm-hmm. All right, Karen. I don't know. There's another Karen asking you a question.
There's another Karen? She must be amazing.
And she has blonde hair too. I mean, if her picture's her, I don't know.
If her picture's her, Alicia.
She says, is there a special certificate to become a student advocate?
Yes. It's if you go to the doctor and you have a pulse.
Yep.
Not everybody does. I think some people in meetings eat toddlers with marinara sauce. So if you like the little children and want them to succeed, come be an advocate.
Yeah. Someone said, what about text-to-speech on test accommodations?
So that's an assistive technology accommodation. If that's what you deemed as a committee would be appropriate to mitigate the impact of their disability, then you would add it on.
Oh, what about reevaluation? How many days for that?
There's no language in the federal law about dates for reevaluation. The only language in the federal law simply says reasonable. And I think we all know that nobody has any idea what that word means. Reasonable.
And Miss Nichols has a question. What are the laws about accepting evaluations from other states?
Accepting evaluations from other states?
Yes, accepting. Yep.
So I feel like we accept all evaluations. Only the school district's assessments are required to drive decisions. So if you have assessments from another state and they meet the normed qualifications, that's fantastic. If you have Bobby Joe, who has a catfish farm, and he said, y'all need to give him adaptive behaviors. Well, then we can accept it into his cumulative file. We may not be able to use it in the IEP. Northside ISD. Can we just say that we have two amazing advocates from Northside? San Antonio's in the house.
Lord Jesus.
Lord, there's a fire.
I just randomly got an anonymous question in a text, so that's not weird at all.
Wow. Alicia's cell number is 713.
No.
That's it. Oh, well, that's her other number because these gas prices are high.
Yeah. So, if a school drops a behavior plan, but the behaviors start happening again, do they have to do an FBR, or can they just reinstate the old plan that was working?
Nobody drops anything. The IEP committee agreed to remove it, to debip him, right? So that was an IEP committee decision. So I would make sure before you remove something from a student's IEP that it's not going to be necessary for certain. If you have current data that he needs those services, certainly you can reinstate it and then follow it up with a formal FBA to see if we need to adjust any of the targeted behaviors.
All right, someone is asking what nights are the academy and how do I join?
Tuesdays, 8 p.m. CST. You join by the link in the bio, specialeducationacademy.com.
Kiki said, show me the data.
Yeah, show me the data or I'm going to show you something else.
What are the laws if both parents and the gen ed teachers want assessments? I just want help. From the Naked Wiener Dog.
Dear Naked Wiener Dog. So if somebody suspects a disability, then we do initial testing. Once the student is in special education and the parents ask for more testing, you cannot legally deny them that once they already are in special education. Now, kids that are on initial, you can certainly deny that, but once a student is in, you can't deny them more testing if they haven't done it in the last year.
Mama Teen 4 asked, what is a parent's right to observe their child's placement?
None. You got no rights to observe the placement.
Nada. Zip. Zero. Sorry. Can schools take away IEPs because only related services are on an IEP? No special education? What?
So schools don't take away, drop, add. The committee makes decisions about the removal or additions to an IEP. The parent of the child with disability is 50% of that committee.
All right, we got 10 more minutes, so we got time for, 10 questions. If a student was put under ED, but later the team decides not ED because of planned behavior.
Because of what?
It says planned behavior.
Stop.
PLNNED.
So like the student like on Sunday night said, Thursday, you're going to get it. Is that what you mean? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's it. That's all. Natalie, if there's something else, let us know.
I need some planned behavior. I don't. I have words. I won't say them right now because my pastor could be watching.
Well, Carrie Ann might make you say those words. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Should an IEP state that a teacher or the OT can take away sensory equipment if it's distracting the class?
That teacher is distracting me. What do we take her away? Oh, I like this. I don't meal prep or behavior prep. I should prep my behavior, but then I forget where I put it.
It was Ashley Oliver that texted me, but apparently I didn't have her number saved in my phone, so it's all good. Nobody gave my number out, so she's in the academy.
That's funny.
Yeah. I was like, who is that? Okay, anyways, focus, guys, focus.
This is you. This is you focused.
Yes. If I'm a teacher and I really want to start to advocate out from behind the scenes, is that allowed?
Yeah. So we have teachers that are training with us, and they're taking referrals from out of district or out of state and prepping those clients doing records reviews. Most, probably half of the clients we get just want a record review. So we get their opening packets, we prep them, and then we do, like tonight, I prepped this file, did a Zoom review for about an hour and a half with the parents in their lovely state. And then they decide at that point if they want representation, or just go in there and do the share the recommendations with the committee that we shared.
Yes, and Kiki said, avoid your own district.
Avoid it unless you don't want to be employed.
Yes. Brandy says she asked twice in writing for data collections and haven't received them. What do I do next?
So you do a FOIA request, a Freedom of Information Act, and a FERPA request, and get those records. The evidence that there's no data is your evidence.
Yeah, and then Natalie responded, the student is making the choice to act out. And then in parentheses, conduct disorder ODD. And then close parentheses, on grade level.
So they chose to have a neurological difference and disability is listed in the DSM-5 criteria. I don't, like when they were, like before they were born, they chose that. That's amazing. I didn't know that they were the genius of the world and they were able to determine that. If you're that good about knowing what in people's heads, you should probably open your own, like, psychic hotline.
Yes. If a team decides to reconvene a meeting, how long do they have to schedule the new meeting?
So usually it's 2 weeks. You can meet outside of that time if the committee agrees. You want to get it done.
Okay, and Rockets and Bows said, we have the district's FIIE going into the first ARD. Do we need a doctor's diagnosis too?
It depends on what the eligibilities are. If you're looking for OHI, you're going to need to have a medical professional populate the OHI form.
Is quality versus quantity a valid accommodation?
That's not even a thing. What is that? Quality versus quantity. Talk about subjective. Yeah. The accommodation cannot have any room for interpretation. So if you want to reduce homework, then you got to give me a number. If you want frequent breaks, then give specificity. What is frequent to you? Is that every 3 minutes? Is that once a semester? You have to have specificity in the language in the document.
Yes. Sorry.
Yes. I think I'm going to order like, what is it? An offering plate. And then when you're having your church moment, I'll just pass the offering plate. It'll just be me, but.
This should be you, to yourself.
Yes.
Wonderfully written.
Voice, I have one.
Okay.
I'm a parent. Can I disclose things to the parents that my student cannot share because they are nonverbal?
I mean, I think that's fair to do. Just know that it could come back if you're not in one of the many amazing school districts that could come back to bite you. And we don't like biting.
This is the question. What was the question?
I'm a para. Can I disclose things to the parent because the student can't because they're nonverbal?
Oh, okay. All right. Sorry, I missed it.
Yes.
Someone asked, where are you located, Karen?
Right here. My office in my house in League City, Texas, in Marbella. If you'd like to take me to lunch tomorrow, I'm available for any processed food that includes a basket of chips.
She's not available tomorrow. She's very busy. Christina's given us the 4-minute warning.
And the furrowed brow. Did you see that?
I did. How often should the special ed preschool be communicating with the parents about progress?
Same time any other student in special ed. It is commensurate with when regular progress reports go out for other children. You can ask for it more often.
Is the IEP portfolio still available online?
Yes, the parent IEP portfolio is available online. It's so amazing. And it comes with an hour video so you know exactly how to use it.
All right, last question. You ready? Everybody give them a drum roll.
I don't hear any drum roll.
All right. Now everybody wants to know, can you ask for no homework?
You can ask for anything if it's appropriate for the student to be successful. I have kiddos that have seizures. I have kiddos that have immune deficiencies and get treatments. They get plasma. They're in medical appointments. It's not appropriate for them to do anything when they get home. So, when I say to the IEP committee, you need to back that up. That's what the accommodation is called. Back it up.
Oh, and then I got to squeeze this one in for the Kiki. She said, when is the teacher portfolio available?
As soon as it is.
We're working on it. We're
going to have it before the break day spring. That's Spanish. See how I did that?
All right. No, just put pressure on your assistants. No problem here. Okay. How can everybody get a hold of you?
1-800. Oh, no, that's
Karen.
no.
Karen. That's different thing.
Shiny penny.
admin@specialeducationacademy.com. We're going to have the virtual class up. We've already had like 40 people want to take it. We're so excited. It's going to be amazing. It'll be on the weekend, February 11th and 12th. Anybody on the globe can jump in and take it. And we would love to have you in that. Just email us if you're interested. And then when the link is up, we'll send it to you. We love you. We are so thankful for you. Thank you for serving kiddos. We see you guys working hard. And I'm hopeful that all of the parents are getting your teachers dark or milk chocolate or a gift card to Specs. So we love you. We'll see you next week. Remember, we get it right for the child. We get it right for everybody.